Yes, sir. Good morning and welcome to the program. Know Your Rights, our legal program on Lagoon Radio. Today, Friday, the 3rd day of March 2022. I am Manosike Chimezie. It's 17 minutes gone past the hour of 9. And from now till 10 a.m., yes, we'll be educating you on a special topic on Know Your Right. Yes. Remember, this program is designed to educate the citizens on your fundamental rights as a citizen of Nigeria. And you know how we do it. Today, yes, it's a rainy Friday morning. Hope you've gotten to where you're going. Or if you're still on the road, yes, just get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee because in the next 42 minutes, yes, all we do is to educate you. And we'll be looking at the impact of Lagos State's Real Estate Regulatory Authority law on real estate uh, sector in the state. Yes, these days, a lot of people have ventured into real estate, and a lot of them will hear complaints over here and there every now and then. But what do you need to do? This is why we bring this program to you so that you will be informed. And I will not be doing it alone. So I have a guest in the studio, Ada Izichuku Esquire. Ada, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Noski. Thank you.
Yes, Ada is an associate of Goldsmith Solicitors. Now, what is real estate? When we talk about real estate, because of recent, I've been hearing, we've seen flyers, we've seen banners of real estate. What is this real estate?
Okay, so real estate basically pertains to land. So it's anything that pertains to land and any permanent improvements on the land, attached to the land, basically like buildings, bridges, water, minerals. So when you hear of real estate, most times it's just it's basically land and then the buildings. And so the real estate sector has to do with the sector that the sector for land transactions, basically. So that's it's relating to land transactions and buildings. Yes.
Okay, because a lot of people will, for me, what I understand as real estate is just building of estates and the rest of them. So I don't know that there are other things attached to real estate itself.
So real estate has to do with the land, right? It has to
Okay.
do with the land and anything that is attached to that land. So that is why you have buildings too. So
Okay.
buildings are permanent. It's not just anything, but permanent improvements on the land. So you have buildings. If I buy a property, and of course, and there's minerals in that property, it's my property. It's my land. So it pertains to land basically. So real estate is anything that pertains to land and
Okay.
permanent improvements on it. Yes.
Okay, if you're listening to us, remember we are streaming live on Facebook and it's Facebook / Lagoon Radio Nigeria. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, Lagoonradio.Ng. Listen to us directly via the link www.lagoonradio.ng. Now, what are the major laws that govern the real estate sector in Lagos State?
Okay, so first of all, before we bring it down to Lagos State, we cannot talk about land in Nigeria or in any state without making reference to the Land Use Act.
Okay.
And so the Land Use Act is like an umbrella legislation that governs land transactions or land in Nigeria, right? So the Land Use Act, first of all, vests land and anything that pertains to land in the states. So it gives power to the states to regulate issues that pertains to land. It vests the whole land except lands that are designated as federal government lands or lands that has been given to federal government agencies. Every other land goes to or is owned by the governor of Lagos State. And so because of this power, because of this, because land belongs to the governor of the state. So the governor and the government of Lagos State is now empowered to make laws to regulate Lagos State land and land transactions in Lagos State. And so the primary legislation for land transactions in Lagos State is the recently passed Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority Law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about that Land Use Act, what is obtainable in Lagos? Is it applicable to other states of the Federation in the Land Use Act?
Yeah, so the Land Use Act, it governs Nigeria as a whole.
Oh,
Right. It governs Nigeria as a whole. But the important thing is that it vests land of each state. It vests the land of each state with the governor, or ownership of land of each state with the governor of that state.
oh.
Yes. And so those governors are empowered, or the government of the state is empowered to make laws with respect to the land in their states.
Okay, having said that, now, what led to the establishment of this Lagos State real estate regulatory sector?
Okay, so first of all, every sector, for there to be sanity in every sector, it needs to be regulated.
Okay.
And so if there are no regulations, then it's to be prone to abuse. It's to be prone to abuse, basically. So the first thing is that it needs to be regulated. Every sector needs to be regulated. And so the Lagos state government enacted this law. And then also this law, I mean, we've been hearing of, you mentioned about things that have been going on, how people complain about imposters, how people complain about fake real estate practitioners, how they fall prey to, imposters, the hands of imposters and the likes. And so this law regulates the sector, right? It establishes the authority that is vested with the power to regulate the sector, ensure that there are no imposters. So yes, so I mean, to protect the people of Lagos State and to ensure that there is sanity with respect to land transactions in the state. Yes, that's one of the reasons for establishing the law. Also, to define operational standards for operators in the state. I mean, let me not delve into that right now, but of course, it defines operational standards for every player in the real estate.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about regulation, what actually is it? Only the land, or like I told you before, we have these agents. We had some of them here sometime, and they talk about giving away lands, giving away structures that they've already built at some estates. So, what does this law actually regulate?
Okay, yes. So it regulates people that engage in land transactions, right? So the person that has come to you is to say, oh, there are lands that have been developed, are probably agents. And the law defines them as brokers. So now you have real estate brokers.
Okay.
And so it regulates them. It regulates the property developers themselves. It regulates landowners, regulates tenants, regulates anybody that plays in the land transaction and deals with land transaction business. It regulates them, basically. It regulates property managers to facility managers too.
Okay. Now, when we look at the activities of the Omonile, like they are fondly called, does it also address the issue of land grabbing? Because in some instances, you will think that you've gotten a land, but at the same time, trying to go to develop the land, you will see another person claiming ownership of that land. Does this also regulate the activities of the land grabbing?
So the recently passed law doesn't really speak to the issue of land grabbing. And so, I mean, people are enjoined to engage lawyers, engage people to ensure that the land that you're about to buy has a valid land title on it, right? So you're to engage a lawyer or to engage a practitioner or someone to do a search for you to ensure that you don't fall prey to the hand of false, owners or moniles as we like to call them. Yeah. So it doesn't really, I won't say it speaks to the issue of land grabbing in Nigeria. It just regulates people that deal in the transaction, right? Like people that sell land, the agents that bring the prospective clients and then the landowners together. That's basically what it deals with.
Okay, since it doesn't address the issue of land grabbing, then what is the purpose of the law, and how will Lagosians benefit from the
law?
The law.
Okay, so first of all, the purpose of the law is, like the name entails, or like the name states, the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority law. So the first thing is that it establishes an authority,
Okay.
which is the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority, and it vested with the power to regulate the way things or transactions and then players in the real estate field. And so, one of the benefits of this law for Lagosians is that the law makes provision for mediation, right? So the authority has been empowered to mediate on issues that arise from real estate transactions. That is one benefit of this law, right? So where an agent comes and then collects money from you and then fails to deliver on the property, or fails to deliver the property that he has promised to deliver, you can go to the authority, and then they will ensure that the issue is resolved, right? It's either he's giving you his money, he's either getting penalized for breaching the agreement, basically to be mediate, or they mediate on issues that pertain to land transactions. It also, it provides that people who want to deal in the real estate business are to be registered, and so it ensures sanity in the sector. So you can verify whether a property manager or a property developer is authentic. You can also verify if the agent is authentic, because they are to be registered with the authority, right? So to that extent, it protects Lagosians.
Okay.
It also ensures the habitability, ensuring that a developed house is habitable, is fit for habitation. We're aware of the case of what happened in November, sometime in November last year, where there was a 21-story building, and then the 21-story building collapsed. And unfortunately, I think the developer too also died in the building. And so the law ensures that when a land is developed, or when a building is developed, and the certificate of completion is obtained from the appropriate authority, which I believe the appropriate authority, then that certificate of completion is to be registered with the authority. So the implication is that before you purchase the land, before you move into the land, you can verify to see if whether the developer has obtained the certificate of completion. And so of course, if that certificate is there, to an extent, you feel secure that your land, that the building that you're moving into is fit for habitation, right? So it also protects Lagosians in that way. It also prevents agents from collecting money from two prospective clients. So you hear cases of an agent collecting money in respect to a particular property, particular premise, from two prospective clients, and at the end of the day, both of them will come and who would it go to, right? So it prohibits an agent from doing that, from collecting money from two prospective clients in respect to a particular transaction. There are a lot of benefits basically that this law gives to us as Lagosians.
Okay, talking about that benefit, someone just asked a question, Prince. He said, "Good morning, barrister. Please, does this law also affect house agents that collect money from different individuals?"
Yeah, that's interesting, and I just speak to that right now. It does govern that. An agent is prohibited from doing that, and any agent that does that should be reported to the authority. You have a right to report the agent to the authority, and a committee of inquiry will be set up. And of course, the issue will be investigated into, and if he's found wanting, then he will have to be penalized for it. So yes, he prohibits it.
Okay. Yes, you're still listening to Lagoon Radio, and it's all Know Your Rights on Lagoon Radio. And we are talking about the impact of Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority law on real estate sector in the state. And Barrister Ada Isuchukwu has been talking to us. We'll go on this short break. When we come back, we look at other activities of this regulatory agent. Keep listening to us. We'll be right back after this break. Yes, you're welcome back, and you're still onto Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and the official radio of the Anglican Diocese of Lagos. We are transmitting from Archbishop's Palace right here in Marina, Lagos, and it's a beautiful Friday morning, and it's Know Your Right, our legal program on Lagoon Radio. Adaisu Chukwu is still here, and we are talking about the impact of Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority law on real estate sector in the state, and she has given us the foundation to all this. But barrister, let me ask now, like I have some friends who are also into this real estate, and they will be telling me, please tell your friends we have lands, you can come and buy this, that. So is it advisable to ask first, are you a registered member with the Lagos State Regulatory Authority?
Yes, it is completely advisable to do that. You know, that way you protect yourself, to ensure that you're dealing with the right agent. But the unfortunate thing is that, I mean, most people don't even know about this law, right? So some agents may be legit, but they are not registered, and that is why, I mean, this program is set up so that listeners that engage in the real estate business and agents too can ensure that they are registered. I mean, I mentioned that the agents are called brokers under the law. And so if you are working for an organization, it is the responsibility of your organization as an agent to register you. So agents should be asking their organizations to have them registered with the agents, with the authority, so that it authenticates what they do, basically.
Okay, now the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority, can they secure the rights of property from an invasive agent?
Yes, they can. First of all, especially where the agent is registered with them.
Okay.
Right. I mentioned earlier about a committee of inquiry. And so when there is an invasive agent, and first of all, the law provides that when payment is made with respect to a property, especially in a tenancy transaction, the prospective clients, the prospective tenants, is to be given or is to take possession at least within 7 days of making that payment. Now, when that does not happen, and of course, yes, and then the agent evades or is evasive, then the prospective tenants can approach the authority and report by way of a petition, and then report this incident. And of course, they will go to their records, and that's why it's good to ensure that they are registered. Go to their records, and then of course help you in recovering your money or putting you in possession, basically.
Okay, I have a question related to this now, but the guy said, "Good morning. I know it may be out of context, but do agents? I heard that agents in Lagos are not authorized to collect more than a year rent from uh, house seekers. Is that
There's
statement true?
there's a law actually that says that you cannot collect a landlord. It doesn't even talk about agents. A landlord and
Okay.
a tenant prohibits the landlords and tenants from making payments, for more than 1 year. But I believe that there are exceptions to everything. To every general rule, there are exceptions, and of course, you know, but yes, there is a law that says that. Yes.
Okay, now can this Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority, can they help you secure C of O?
Unfortunately or fortunately, no. No, they don't secure C of O. I mean, you go through the proper channel, you go to the land registry, you register your deed of assignment, and of
Okay.
course you begin the process to obtain the governor's consent and then get your C of O. So you know.
Okay, this is where we need a professional advice because I've had a friend that got some properties somewhere in Lagos, and this agent approached him that he should pay some kind of money so that they will help him and secure the C of O. So, what is your advice in such cases?
Well, yes, there are professionals that could help you, that could
Okay.
assist you with the process. So there's a process that has to be followed, and there are professionals that can assist you with that, right? But the authority, it is not the job of the authority to give you a C of O. You have to go through the process, and yes, professionals assist with that.
Okay, now talking about in a state or in a nation where a lot of us don't know our fundamental rights, and this is why this program is on so that citizens will be educated. Now, as an agent, must an agent register? Like you've said, it must an agent who is practicing in Lagos must he or she register to be before he can be trusted with such uh, transactions.
Yes, yes, an agent is to be registered with authority before he can, be entrusted with such transactions. And it's not just the agent who is, of course, the broker. First of all, anybody dealing in real estate transactions, in the business of real estate transactions. So it covers both property developers, facility managers, um, just anybody dealing in the business of in the real estate business is to be registered,
Okay.
including and then the broker, who is of course the agent, and most times an agent of a maybe a company or a person or an individual, is to ensure that his organization or the individual that he's representing registers him. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah.
Okay, but as an individual who wants to register, who wants to practice, who wants to become an agent or a real estate manager, how do that person register?
Okay, so first of all, you have to ensure that you are eligible,
Okay.
right? And so just some eligibility requirements are: you have to be, of course, 18. You have to have your tax clearance certificate, 3 years tax clearance certificate. You have to be a Nigerian, or if you're not in now, you have to have a valid work permit in Nigeria to be able to operate in this sector. You also have registration agency number, LASHRA number. Um, Most importantly, is that you can't just operate with your name. Just for example, Ada Izuchuku.
Okay.
No, you have to be registered with the CAC with as at least a business name. So the implication is that you can be a business name, you can register as a partner, you can have a partnership, you know, deal in the business, but you can't just deal in business as Ada Izuchuku, just with your name. You can of course also incorporate a corporate entity, and then for corporate entities, they are to bring their corporate documents, CAC documents, so that at least to authenticate that this company is actually registered with the CAC. They also have to have their tax clearance certificate, and they have to ensure that at least one director is eligible as defined, is eligible as an individual as defined under the law.
Okay.
And then so they are sorry, I'm so and then they apply for a permit,
Okay.
which is only valid for a year.
Okay. Since you okay, it's renewable.
Yes, it's renewable. It's valid for a year, and it is renewed at least 2 weeks to the expiration of the license.
And what happens if you don't renew?
If you don't renew, then you're not operating validly because you don't have a valid license to operate.
Okay, now are there special courses that you attend to become an agent, or you practice, or you before you practice real estate management in Nigeria or in Lagos State?
There are no courses. At least there is no law that mandates you to study a particular course or go through a particular training. Of course, the law also says that the authorities can, from time to time, organize trainings and seminars, and so when they call for it, it's also good that people go for, or people that are engaged in the business go for these seminars. But there is no law that mandates you.
Okay,
you have to have a minimum education qualification of WAEC, NECO, or an equivalent to that qualification. Yes.
Okay, does a real estate manager, does he or she need a barrister, the services of a barrister?
Of course, in a real estate transaction, that's one mistake that people make, not involving a lawyer in real estate transactions. So from the beginning of the transaction, first of all, from trying to venture into the business, you need a lawyer to advise you on what the state says about this area of business you're trying to venture into. So that's the first step. Also, you need a lawyer that would help you with your transactions, to help you to draft your agreements. I mean, you find now that sometimes, and it's so hilarious in a very sad way, that you find people come with an agreement and say, "Oh, lawyer, I've prepared this agreement. You just put your seal on it." It doesn't work that way. There are some provisions, as little as is, and I tell people, as little as is can change the language of an agreement. And so if you don't have a lawyer review these agreements, you don't have a lawyer draft this agreement for you and review agreements, when things happen, when a problem comes up, that's when you now start seeking the service of a lawyer. And sometimes it may be too late. You may have lost a lot of things. Also, before you even maybe buy a property, you're also supposed to do your search. And that also helps with the issue of umonile. So, but because people feel, I trust my guy, this is my person, I trust him, he said there's a land available, and there's a land available. So they don't ask for documents. They don't seek the services of lawyers of a lawyer to help them verify and conduct a search on who actually owns this property. So the use of a lawyer cannot be it cannot be overemphasized.
Okay, you're still listening to Know Your Right, our legal program on Lagoon Radio, and Ada Izuchukwu, she's an associate of Goldsmith Solicitors, and she's been talking to us on the impact of Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority law on real estate sector in Lagos State. Barrister, we are gradually rounding off. Now, looking at what is your advice, especially for the young ones who want to deal into this real estate, or those who are house hunting? There are a lot of complaints everywhere. You go, in fact, if you sit down and meet up to 5 people, 2 out of the 5 must have had issues with all these agents. What is your advice for those, especially the young ones who are house hunting in Lagos?
Okay, so first of all, I would say that I don't think we should restrain it to the young ones. I think it covers everybody, because even the elderly ones to fall prey of all these imposters and fake real estate agents. So first of all, as individuals, as residents in Lagos State, or as people that intend to maybe invest in the real estate sector, or intend to go into any land transaction, either as a tenant, a lessor, or a lessee, or whatever, you have to ensure that you know the law. And really, you can never really know the law. And so that you know everything about the law. And so that's why you have to, first of all, seek the service of a legal practitioner to advise you on what's in it for you, what you need to do, what you need to know. So the first thing is be abreast to the law, and that is by, of course, seeking legal advice. Then also ensure that you do your part, you play your own role by investigating. And most of these things can't be done by an individual. conducting searches is very, very important, but it is trivialized in Lagos State. If irrespective, despite the fact that people have fallen prey of imposters or fraudulent real estate business, or people that pose to be real estate people that pose to deal with real estate and actually don't, are just fake, or imposters. Irrespective, or sorry.
Okay, now, like you said, now looking at them and what will be the outcome, especially like in this era, when you hear people complain that I was duped, or this was happened to me by these and agents and the rest of them. Now, what step do I need to take? Especially some of those people who perceive or who think that they have been duped by an agent. Is there a way I can recover the money?
Yeah, yes, of course. And we have mentioned it before. The authority can set up an inquiry, a committee of inquiry, to investigate all that has transpired. So you can approach the authority by writing a petition, and of course they will invite the parties and investigate. And at the end of the day, you can recover whatever that has been spent. Or if you need to take possession, then maybe what they would be, their verdicts will be, take possession, and of course, penalize the defaulting party. So that's, at the end of the day, that's why it's important for you to ensure that people that you're dealing with are registered, right? Take the right steps, engage the service of a legal practitioner to conduct your searches for you, and to ensure that you're on the right track.
Okay, now, what are the penalties? What are the likely penalties for the defaulters of this law, especially those invasive agents? What are the likely penalties?
So the penalties range is different. It differ a bit, rather. It depends on what the violation is, right? So it ranges from 250,000 naira for unregistered, a fine of 250,000 naira for unregistered business, people that deal in the business that are unregistered, right? You also have penalties of 100,000 naira for violations like failing to deliver the property within 7 days of collecting the money from tenants, and of course 10,000 naira for each day that the penalty arises or the penalty occurs, continues to occur. So there are very stringent penalties imposed for violation, right? So, and then it depends on what the violation is, of course.
Okay, I'm trying to get another here is one of our friends. He say, "Good morning, Lagoon Radio. Please, thank you, barrister. I've been listening to all this. I have a friend who an agent duped last year, and up to this moment, we've not collected our money. How do I proceed? How do I get to recover this money with this my friend who is also suffering now?"
So first of all, can you identify the agent? Is he someone that you can? Do you know where he lives? These are these are preliminary questions that you need to ask an agent. We need to also be proactive in protecting ourselves too, as people that are buying or buy properties or intending to enter into the property of another person and giving an agent money in that respect. So is the person? Do you know the person's address? Right. Is the person registered with the authority? And I'm guessing that you probably don't know whether the person is registered or not. And it's most likely that the person is not registered with the authority, because most people are not registered with the authority. So, yes, approach the authority and then see what they can do for you. Besides that, you can also take other measures by going to the police station, lay the complaint at the police station. And if you have this person's address, you can go to the person's house, and then, have the person arrested, basically, and recover your money.
Okay, from the legal perspective now, and coming to a place where a lot of us don't know our rights, I hear some lawyers talk on pro bono basis. Can this kind of the magnitude of these agents, can it be handled on pro bono basis by a lawyer?
It depends on the lawyer you approach. Yes, it depends on the lawyer you approach. It's a personal question, and so it's going to be
Okay.
personal to each lawyer. So if you know if the lawyer is open to doing it on a pro bono basis for you, of course, then the lawyer will do that.
Okay. Now, we hear of special courts for human rights violation and the rest of them. Are there also special courts for real estate?
Under the law, no. It's basically the committee, the committee on inquiry that will be set up. Whatever their verdict is, they would also let the authority know, and you can proceed to court for that. On that, also, where the authority, because we've also stated that the authority has been empowered to mediate on any conflict that arises between parties, right? So a mediator can help parties to resolve their issue and have it stated in a memorandum of understanding, and of course ensure execution of the agreement. So yes, that's it.
Okay, having said all this, and as a lawyer, what would be your advice to people, especially our listeners, maybe those who are house hunting or those who want to invest in real estate? What would be your advice from the legal perspective?
My advice would be to first of all basically engage a lawyer. You can't do it by yourself. And I've said this before. I've said it before, and really it cannot be overemphasized. It can never be overemphasized, especially in Lagos State. It can't be overemphasized. Engage a lawyer to conduct searches for you. Conducting searches is very important. You don't have to conduct searches only when maybe you want to advance loans to people. When you want to buy a property, you have to know whether that C of O is even authentic. You have to know whether that person that is posing as the owner of the land is actually the owner of the land. And the only way you can know is when you conduct searches. So, yes, so engage a lawyer, be advised, seek advice, be advised, and then, of course, engage a lawyer, to conduct your searches for you, to draft your agreements, to review your agreements, because it's not just only to draft, but also to review. Sometimes a lawyer can ask for both parties, and so it is the lawyer's responsibility, ethical responsibility, to ensure that it's fair and explains to both parties that this is your right, this is what this provision means, this is what it means, this is what this other provision means. This is where your right ends, this is where your right begins. So where a lawyer is acting for both parties, the lawyer is, of course, to advise both parties. But where it is just where maybe the landowner has a lawyer acting for him, then it is the responsibility of the tenant or the prospective buyer to engage the service of a lawyer to look through the agreements, and then, of course, ensure that that everything is in order, and then there is no funny statements there that can implicate your clients at the end of the day, basically.
Okay, a friend of mine just asked a question. He said, is it advisable to buy a land without C of O in Lagos State?
I believe he knows the answer already. It's not advisable. It's not advisable. C of O is a good title. You have to always ensure that the person has a good title. However, a lawyer can always assist you to really know whether this person has a good title, notwithstanding that he doesn't have a C of O. When you engage the service of a lawyer and the search is conducted, it can help you to know whether you could continue or go ahead with the transaction.
Yeah, we had, before he asked this question now, we had a brief discussion when I posted the flyer yesterday. He said that they've been having this back and forth of a land that doesn't have C of O, but they perceive that it is authentic. But the family, they are reluctant to go ahead to buy. Though they've had lands, they are into real estate, their family, though they have lands that they bought with us UFOs, but later they acquired on their own. So he's asking now, with the new trend of things, that if it's advisable, since they have been successful in previous ones, so if it's advisable for them now to buy a land in Lagos with us UFO.
If you've been successful before, it doesn't mean that you'll be successful tomorrow or you'll be successful today. So you have to just always be careful.
Okay.
Do what you need to do. Conduct your searches. We can't overemphasize it. We can't overflow this matter. You have to conduct your searches. And
okay, thank you, Barrister, for talking to us this morning. We hope to see you when next we'll call on you. And that will be a wrap on the show this morning on Know Your Rights. It comes again every Friday 9:15 to 10 a.m. Keep listening to us and do enjoy a lovely day. And also thank you to our producer, Olumakaiye, for pressing the right buttons. Till we meet again next week. Goodbye.